NASA's Planetary Defense System was never meant for this. Yet it's just been activated for something not from our solar system. That alone should tell you how serious things have become. The mysterious object known as 3I Atlas has done something no comet or asteroid has ever done before. It changed its path, and that shift was enough to trigger an international alert. Scientists are scrambling to explain how an interstellar visitor could suddenly move like it's under intelligent control. And for the first time in history, NASA's Planetary Defense Office, the same network designed to prevent an asteroid impact, has been redirected toward tracking this single object in real time. In this video, we're breaking down exactly why NASA took such an unprecedented step, what this object really is, and how its strange new behavior is rewriting the rules of space science. You'll see how 3I Atlas went from a quiet discovery to a full-blown mystery that's now dividing the scientific community. From its impossible tail and path reversal to the radio silence that's followed since it disappeared behind the sun, this story might reveal the biggest clue yet that we are not alone. Now let's get to the discovery that started it all. It began quietly, a faint speck captured by Hawaii's Atlas Telescope network in mid-August 2025. Within days, astronomers realized this wasn't just another icy rock drifting through the solar system. Its speed and angle of approach were far too extreme to be bound by the sun's gravity. When NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory confirmed that its orbit was hyperbolic, the message was clear. This thing came from interstellar space. They named it 3I Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar object after Oumuamua and Borisov. But even from the first images, something didn't add up. It wasn't behaving like a comet, nor did it look like one. The first clue came from its tail direction. Instead of pointing away from the sun, as all normal comets do, the tail appeared to stretch toward it, almost as if it were being pulled or controlled. Observatories in Chile and Spain confirmed the same pattern. The scientific world suddenly went quiet, and that's when whispers began spreading through the astronomy community. Some said the readings must be wrong. Others wondered if 3I Atlas was reflecting sunlight differently or emitting gas in reverse. But the most daring suggestion came from Professor Loeb of Harvard, who had once suggested that Oumuamua could be alien technology. He simply said, "If this is propulsion, we're watching something we don't understand." To understand why this was so disturbing, you have to know how comet tails normally work. When a comet gets close to the sun, its icy surface heats up and releases vapor and dust. The solar wind then pushes that material away, creating the long, glowing tail that always points away from the sun. This rule has held true for centuries, until now, because 3I Atlas didn't follow that rule. For nearly 2 months, astronomers watched as its tail defied physics, pointing directly toward the sun as though it were responding to an entirely different set of forces. It was, in Loeb's words, like watching a car drive forward with its exhaust blowing out the front. That single observation flipped everything upside down. Loeb's team at the Galileo project published early notes describing the behavior as non-gravitational acceleration, meaning the object was moving on its own. Meanwhile, NASA scientists refused to speculate publicly, but privately they began increasing monitoring frequency. In early September, NASA's Planetary Defense Coordination Office issued a classified directive to track 3I Atlas continuously. They didn't call it a threat, but the sudden upgrade from routine observation to defense-level monitoring raised eyebrows everywhere. The question was no longer if the object was unusual. It was whether it was alive in some technological sense. The Planetary Defense System is designed for one purpose: to detect and respond to objects that could collide with Earth. It's the network behind missions like DART, which tested how to deflect asteroids. But in September 2025, NASA quietly confirmed that those same systems were now focused on 3I Atlas. That immediately caused confusion. Why would you activate planetary defense for an object that isn't even on a collision path? NASA officials only said it was part of a precautionary observation campaign. But according to several insiders quoted in the European Space Journal, the move was triggered because the object's trajectory had changed, not dramatically, but unnaturally. That small deviation was enough to rewrite simulations across multiple observatories. NASA's orbital models could no longer perfectly predict where 3I Atlas would be days later. Something, either internal propulsion or a force we don't yet understand, was altering its flight. That's when the global coordination began. The ESA, China's Purple Mountain Observatory, and Japan's Subaru telescope all began gathering constant data. Normally, such cooperation happens only for objects threatening impact. This time, the threat was different. It wasn't about collision, it was about control. Something was controlling 3I Atlas, and NASA wanted to know what. By early October, new radar models revealed something chilling. 3I Atlas's path had shifted again. The deviation was subtle, just a few thousand kilometers, but the direction made no sense. If it was natural outgassing, the motion should have been random or sunward. Instead, it bent away from predicted solar influence, almost as if it was navigating. The change came just days before the object disappeared into the sun's glare, moving toward its perihelion, the closest point to the sun. This timing felt almost too perfect. Loeb himself called it suspiciously well-timed, noting that the object's maneuver occurred precisely before it became invisible to ground-based telescopes. Inside NASA, sources suggested the agency wasn't ruling out artificial explanation. According to leaked internal memos, multiple observatories had detected brief bursts of radiation in the same spectral range used by deep space communication. Officially, NASA denied any unusual readings. But unofficially, teams were preparing for the possibility that 3I Atlas might reappear on a different course after its solar pass. If that happened, it would confirm beyond doubt that it's not a passive rock. The tension grew as astronomers realized that for the next several weeks, the object would be completely hidden behind the sun, unreachable, unobservable, and possibly changing its behavior while no one could see. For now, 3I Atlas sits behind the sun, a cosmic blind spot that even our best instruments can't penetrate. During this period, known as solar conjunction, communication with spacecraft near the line of sight becomes risky or impossible. It's like the object has entered a natural cloak of invisibility, and that's exactly what makes scientists nervous. If an advanced probe were to perform a gravitational maneuver, this would be the perfect window to do it. By using the sun's immense gravity, it could slingshot itself toward another planet or out of the solar system entirely, all without detection. Loeb speculated that if it's indeed artificial, this could be its maneuver phase. But this theory isn't just science fiction, it's grounded in the object's trajectory plan. The orbital model shows it will pass unusually close to Mars, Venus, and Jupiter, one after another. The odds of a random interstellar object aligning with 3 major planets are less than 1 in 500. In other words, it's almost impossible without deliberate pathing, and yet, that's exactly what's happening. As the object hides behind the sun, NASA's planetary defense systems are rerouting data through deep space antennas and Juno's radio array near Jupiter to listen for signals. They're not guarding against impact anymore. They're listening for a transmission. You'd expect that with so much global attention, NASA and ESA would flood the internet with updates, right? Instead, the opposite happened. As soon as 3I Atlas entered the blind spot, public data streams went dark. No new high-resolution images, no updated orbital details, and no open-source telescope data have been released since. Even Avi Loeb's team reported that access to certain NASA databases was suddenly restricted due to a temporary system issue. This kind of data lockdown doesn't happen by accident. Some believe it's because the findings are too ambiguous. Others think it's because the object might be something too significant to disclose until verified. Meanwhile, the International Asteroid Warning Network launched its own special campaign to synchronize observatories across the globe for December, when 3I Atlas will reemerge from behind the sun. The coordination level is unprecedented. Even countries that rarely collaborate like China, Japan, and the US are sharing limited observation windows. If nothing else, this proves one thing. Something about this object has the world's top space agencies both fascinated and afraid. And as usual, official statements only fuel more speculation. Because when science goes silent, mystery gets louder. Avi Loeb isn't staying quiet. The Galileo Project, his independent research initiative, is now running simulations to test if 3I Atlas could be a reconnaissance probe designed to scan planetary systems it passes. Loeb points to 3 clues: its abnormal tail, its trajectory alignment with planets, and its chemical signature, which shows unusually high levels of carbon dioxide but almost no water. To him, that looks less like a frozen rock and more like a spent propulsion system. In simpler terms, it behaves like something that was built. He's even proposed using Juno's radio receivers to listen for technological emissions during December's reappearance. Of course, skeptics say it's just a volatile-rich interstellar comet behaving in ways we haven't modeled yet. But Loeb counters with mathematics. The probability that 3I Atlas's path, tail orientation, and timing all align by chance is astronomically small. His critics argue that science should wait for evidence, but that's exactly what December will bring. Whether the object speeds up, changes its angle, or emits detectable signals, those results could redefine everything we know about space exploration. And if it does nothing at all, that might be even stranger, because natural or not, 3I Atlas has already forced humanity to watch the skies differently. Circle the date: December 19, 2025. That's when 3I Atlas will make its closest approach to Earth, just 1 week before Christmas. Astronomers call it the moment of truth because whatever it's been doing behind the sun, we'll finally see it again. NASA's James Webb Space Telescope and ground-based observatories across Chile and Spain are preparing for a synchronized imaging campaign. If the object emerges exactly where models predict, it might prove to be natural. But if it appears off course, accelerates, or shows small fragments detaching, the debate about alien technology will erupt overnight. The public might not realize how high the stakes are. If any transmission is detected, even a faint one, that would count as a technological signature, humanity's first confirmed contact with an intelligent artifact. And ironically, it might not even be new. It might be something that's been watching us for years, only now revealing itself. NASA officials have stated that no threat to Earth exists, but that's not the question anymore. The real question is, why are we being observed? When 3I Atlas emerges, we might finally find out, or be left with even deeper questions than before. So where does this leave us? 2 possibilities stand on the table. Either 3I Atlas is the most bizarre natural object ever discovered, one that breaks every physical law we thought we understood, or it's the first interstellar technology ever observed in our solar system. Either answer changes everything. If it's natural, we've just discovered new physics. If it's artificial, we've discovered we're not alone. NASA's Planetary Defense System wasn't activated because they feared a collision. They activated it because they don't know what it's capable of. And maybe that's the most unsettling part. Because if this is a machine, one built by another civilization, then they've already found us. While we debate, they might be watching, recording, learning. For now, all we can do is wait until December when the object emerges from behind the sun. The answer might come as a faint light in the telescope, or maybe as a signal. Either way, history is already being written, and 3I Atlas has made sure of it.